Hi, it's me, Ingrid P. And I'm at the library. Um, I had a pretty good day today, but it's basically that I'm recovering meltdown after meltdown. I had a meltdown last weekend, or the beginnings of one, and I felt really tired afterwards. I had to, uh, you know, I was feeling pretty tired on Monday evening. And then I was triggered by my colleague asking me about driving, and that is a trigger for me. I cannot talk about driving, like it's really stressful. So, like, I've tried everything. It's not like I haven't thought about driving before, but you know, I didn't want to continue this conversation, but I was kind of trapped. At my work, we were in the coffee room and everybody could pass by, and I started feeling really pressured because my colleague did not understand that that I didn't want to talk about it because she thought that I had given up. She also thought that, oh, she can help me, and it's like, leave me alone about this subject, And so I started crying after that, and then I couldn't stop crying, and that was a problem because I was like in public and everybody could see. So I thought, oh, I need to go back to my room or something. But then the colleague that I actually drive with saw me, and she was like, oh, Ingrid, what's wrong? And I started crying more. And then she said, oh, let's go to another room. And so I told her about it all. And the colleague that I drive with said, oh, but I know that that's something that triggers you. She said, that's why I haven't pressured you for the past 6 months. And I said, I'm thankful for that. And she said, don't listen to these other people who are trying to pressure you about driving. She knows that it takes me more time. And she, just sat and listened and was supportive. And I didn't feel like attacked. But then I felt really tired after that, and I had to work at the emergencies. And then I was, basically my whole evening was me just like, I slept for 1.5 hours. And yeah, I've been grumpy and all that because I'd had a great day from the beginning, but it got ruined just by people mentioning driving. I don't want to talk about driving in the comments, okay? Like the colleague that drives with me, she knows that it's counterproductive to push me into anything. She said that if I want to take it up with her, then I can drive with her. And I'm thankful for that because I haven't given up. It's just that it's not as simple as other people are making it out to be. And I think that there is a lot to the ADHD and autism stuff. And when I was explaining why I was having such trouble with doing driving classes, I realized that not everybody understands. Not everybody has problems with executive functioning. Like when you have problems with executive function, or I don't know if I have autism or ADHD, but a disability. It is a disability because I realized that most people are able to do things with their life and not have to do this trade-off game all the time. So I'm always doing this trade-off game where I'm like, okay, well, if I do driving, then I don't cook dinner tonight. If I cook dinner tonight, then I cannot do the laundry. And it's like, I can only do a certain set amount of activities before I'm completely drained. And it's always been like that. And it's gotten better when I got better from my depression and such, but it's kind of the way that I've always been, like it's kind of the way that I'm wired. And I thought that everybody else was just, you know, pushing through like I was, when actually most people do not have to play this game of, I mean, sure, nobody has superhuman energy, we all have a certain amount of energy that we can distribute, but it feels like my plate is much smaller than other people's plates. So even though I have less things on my plate is smaller and so it seems like a lot to me. So maybe I have the same amount on my plate as somebody else, but I cannot fit it on my plate. And if I tried to put as much on my plate as some neurotypical people do, then everything would start crumbling to the floor, And so I was telling her, if I do driving, I told her, when I do driving with you, it's great, but I feel drained afterwards. And I have to focus on activities that give me energy, preferably after I've done it, and not several months or years in the future when I finally get my driver's license. The activity, well, I don't need to suffer through the activity, but this is a draining activity and not a refilling, recharging activity. And if I need to focus on a certain amount of activities in a week, then I need to focus on the recharging activities and being able to do them rather than the ones that are draining me. And it's not easy because I just thought that, oh wow, everybody's managing so much, and I'm like, not. And so that means that I need to try harder, that I'm useless. But actually, most people are not struggling that hard just because they have a class once a week, Most people can work a 40-hour work week and take a class one day a week and maybe have a social activity another day of the week, For me, it doesn't work that way. For me, I do one activity one evening and I'm completely dead for the rest of the week. And if I try to fit two activities on the same day, then maybe the next day I won't be able to go to work, So, yeah. Anyway, it was a lot. Also, I've been kind of not doing great with my ESFP colleague, who was the one who took up this conversation. I don't think that she's interested in going deeper into reasoning. And sure, sometimes I wished I were in an ESFP so that I could do all these things and have a lot of fun and, move forward in life instead of overthinking things all the time. But sometimes I think that she forgets that life is much more complex than she makes it out to be, something that she said to me was she doesn't understand bisexual people, she said, because she said either you love boobs or you hate boobs. There's no in between. And I'm like, gender and sexuality is much more complicated than that, but okay. It's I know that she's joking, but at the same time, that's kind of how she's thinking. And she's not planning on going deeper. And this is an extremely intelligent person. She's a doctor herself. But sometimes I know that we're on completely different planets. There's a sensor-intuitive divide that is too large, So I'm trying to, not get involved in the drama that she causes all the time, because it's overwhelming for me, and especially when it concerns me, um, uh, you know, she made me feel pretty guilty about like not trying hard enough and all that. But it was like, she doesn't know my situation. She hasn't been involved in my brain. She hasn't lived my life. So, anyway. So I did get a little bit angry when I came back home, and I realized like this meltdown has destroyed my day. But it's not her fault. It's just that my way of functioning is different, and I'm an introvert who is pretty sensitive. And I have my own difficulties that aren't understood by a lot of the world, So that was that. But let's go to the fun stuff. And the fun stuff is that I found out that I'm being assessed on the first week of September. And I have an appointment the week after that in Stockholm to meet with the doctor as well. And yeah, that was earlier than I thought. And also, I have been approved for doing a residency placement in another town that is coupled to the Stockholm region, where my best friend works actually. And he works in geriatrics, so this is going to be internal medicine, which is coupled with geriatrics. Like they have the same structure of organization. So, and that placement is 3 months instead of 6 months, which I would have had in this town. I've heard such bad rumors about internal medicine in this town, having a placement there. But so I'm really happy to be accepted into this other clinic. And also my boss said yes. So he's willing to pay for me doing that. And that's such a weight off my shoulders, I was really dreading going into internal medicine because I've been bullied in internal medicine before in another hospital in the south of Sweden when I was doing my internship. I don't want it to happen again. And that's apparently what happened to my ESFP colleague when she was doing her placement in this town that I'm in right now. She was also bullied, and rumors were spread about her in the internal medicine in this town. So being in another town, and my best friend has told me that this clinic that he's at is really good clinic, that gives me confidence in the future, and it gives me hope that I can actually enjoy working at the hospital and not like be an entire hell for 6 months. But yeah, it's a lot of planning, it's a lot of thinking, it's a lot of emails back and forth, which is pretty stressful. I have a hard time planning for the future, like thinking like, wait, will I be burnt out then, will I be able to do driving if I go to that other town? Or will I be able to have holidays when I want to have holidays? There are a lot of questions. But in that case, either I do it in May next year, or I do it in November next year. Maybe I can go to Japan beforehand, I don't know. Maybe in April, when there's the spring trees blooming. That would be perfect, But we're not there yet, It's just that I have to do all this planning. Like I have to choose my holidays for like in a year from now, which is very difficult, let's just say. And so yeah, there have been good things going on. And there have been difficulties in my mood because I'm so overwhelmed with the activities starting up, in August and September, my colleagues coming back from their holidays and all that. But yeah, things are going well. I just need to recover from these meltdowns that I've been having and just breathe and be nice to myself, be kind to myself. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Bye.